Good morning. We've got coffee coming in the form of Timor here with the walnuts and dark chocolate creamy finish. Oh, it's all so wonderful. But first, he made pasta last night, so yikes. I'm going to give this a little bit of a cleaning while we talk about our visit to Vieques. Okay, so the next couple of days I don't want to say they melded together because they were on all their own separate stuff, but there was a day where I was incredibly tired and maybe a little cranky, and every beach we went to, I was like, ugh, because there was a couple of good beaches, but the majority of them, especially the ones that face directly at the ocean, with no breakers in sight, they were incredibly rough. And the first beach we had gone to had some really high waves that came in, and he can of course swim and swim very well. So, that's great. And I didn't want to, I hated thinking of the fact that I was going to deprive him of any kind of fun, because he likes jumping waves and doing all of that stuff, and it scares me to death. So I took a couple of waves. I took one to the face, I took one over top of myself, and I walked out of the water and I said, okay, I think I'm done with this for a little while. And, he would go out and swim, and that was great. And I thought that was very important, that he should go out and swim and have fun, and hopefully he didn't think that I wasn't having fun just because I wasn't in the water or in the deep water with him. Generally I can go up to my shoulders in calm water without panic, but any waves coming at me, and he's like, jump now, and it's like, yeah, I can jump, but these things are still hitting me in the face. So I mean, there were some rough waters, and a couple of the beaches that we had gone to had some really rough areas to walk in. So, and also we went to beaches in the sargassum, which is basically the seagrass, had overtaken a lot of the beaches, which unfortunately is a thing that happens just because of where everything comes from in the ocean, how the currents take everything, and the sea, there's a bunch of seaweed and seagrass, and it dies and it comes up, and it's a constant cycle. It's just like leaves falling off the trees here in Ohio. If you got a nice pin oak, and nice, by nice I mean not, pin oak in the front of your house that likes to drop leaves way after the other leaves have dropped off of other trees, and you're out there in the middle of January and February getting those leaves up. Which is why we don't bother with leaves anymore. Thank you, condo community. Anyhow, so we're going to do a French strain, and we're going to do a nice high amount of coffee, because I know that this is coming up. I know that this is probably almost 6 months. So we're going to get it off here to, we're going to do 40. I'm going to do a 40 at the bottom, and then we're going to maximize the amount of water in this. And I'm going to have a nice big cup of delicious coffee because I can. So about 41 grams of wonderful Timor coffee from, I mean, of course, this is from the new Smirnoff Coffee Company. Contains 100% coffee. So we're going to blitz this up. I'm going to do it about, put in the middle there, about a 25. Not too chunky, not too fine. Right there in that sweet spot where we can try to get as much out of it as it's sitting in there. So let's blitz this up. All right. We didn't lose much. Perfect. Anyway. Perfect. I'll try to hose down the sides with the kettle to try to get all of those particles down. We'll make an active effort this time. So I'm going to do as much water as I feel comfortable putting in here. That is not measurements, but I'm going to see what that measurement is. I am not limiting myself today. Anyhow, I think I want to get to the basically the near end or the end of everything, and then next week we can kind of wrap everything up on Tuesday. We do have family coming, and they're going to be here for a couple of days. So those posts will probably be limited again, and I do apologize for that. I'm hoping that all of these things that I'm doing right now are a nice, interesting thing with all the pictures and the video and the descriptions. So again, I apologize. Next week will probably be limited to no posting. We will make up for it the following week as best that I can. Okay, so yeah, family's coming in. Pretty excited. Haven't seen them since we visited with them in Arizona last October. Very nice people. I'm very excited to see them. Anyhow, so we're I'm trying to think. We moved from the guest house, which was beautiful and we loved it. We moved from that after our 3-day stay to a hotel. A hotel that I would say was the tallest structure, at least in La Esperanza, maybe in Vieques, but definitely in La Esperanza. It was about 5 stories, I think, because they did like ground and then first floor, second floor, third floor, top. So I'm pretty sure it was 5 stories. I believe there may have been 30 rooms total in this hotel. It was all concrete, and I'll show you. It's called El Block. Very centralized, very like at the very beginning of the town portion of La Esperanza as you come around the corner, facing the ocean, beautiful views, amazing big room. Room didn't have a TV in it. I thought that was very interesting and also very indicative of the entire island vibe. You're not there to lounge and watch TV. You are there to be outside, eating, drinking, beaching, hiking, and then you come back into that room, into a sanctuary, and sleep. You know, that's it. Shower, poop, and sleep. That was the point of that hotel room, and that fit the bill very well. It was much more expensive, but that's why we only stayed there for 2 nights. Bed, very comfortable, big king-size bed. Shower, it was very modern because it was all made out of concrete. So, I mean, I assume that makes it very hurricane-proof. I don't know. I guess so. That would be a reason to make your structure out of concrete. But it was big and had a nice hot tub at the top that was incredibly difficult to get into. They had a bar on the rooftop that we didn't experience because it was closed both days we were there. The island itself was having a big festival that week. So everybody was basically in Isabela 2, which is another city on Vieques. So they were all up there doing the carnival thing, partying, drinking, eating, participating in games, that kind of lovely, fun thing. And I'll tell you right now, La Esperanza, great to get around in. Isabel 2, holy crap. That is for experienced Vieques drivers only. Holy crap, especially during that time. The insanity of the parking and the people just walking out in front of you because they can, which I kind of got behind, but also at the same time very nerve-wracking. I'm very glad that Matt chose that I was not going to drive. Let's do 700. Let's get her up to 700. Come on, give me 700. Yeah, you're gonna give me 700. I think this thing does almost 900 grams of water. All right, a nice big cup of coffee. A little spoonage. And a nice, even, beautiful stir. Let that crust develop. We will break that crust in about 4 minutes. I don't need the scale anymore, so we'll take that off of there. I'll get a little paper towel and we'll clean that up. Anyway, however you want to say it, we went to El Bloc. It was beautiful. It was right there, and on the Caribbean side, the Las Esperanzas on the southern side of the island. So we were facing that beautiful Caribbean blue ocean. The most breathtaking sight ever is that Caribbean. And then there's little islands dotted out there, which made La Esperanza's beach in front of El Bloc very, very calm. So, but then there was a lot of seagrass in there, and we tried our best to not get into it because there are a lot of different little wildlife things living in there. I think someone mentioned sea urchins could be in there too. But anyway, so we got ourselves settled in that hotel, El Bloc, and then we went to what I consider one of the most challenging roads we had ever been on, ever. And that includes all of my trips down back road back home, because it's all dirt roads basically to get to my parents' house in southeastern Ohio. At one point, they're kind of paved better now, not much better, but it's a whole thing. But these roads were rutted and potholed, and had not seen a grader come through since Hurricane Maria, I would say, at the very least. But we got to this place called Media Luna, and I believe it's called Luna because the bay is crescent shaped, and then there are 2 points of the island that come out, and then the water comes in between those points. But it's a crescent shape, and the water that comes in is calm, the calmest, warmest water. Beautiful. So many small fish. Saw a stingray, which surprised the hell out of me. And you'll see some underwater. I took some underwater pictures. The clearest water I have ever seen. You could see your feet at the bottom, and you could go out like 40, 50 feet, and to me it was up to maybe my chest. So, I mean, there was so much ground under that water that you could just go out so far, and it was so calm, nothing came up on you, no big waves splashing. So, and then he would swim, he swam out so far. And then would stand up, and it would be up to his neck, So I mean, it was just crazy. And the water was so blue, and the vegetation was thick and green and beautiful. And then I got stung by a jellyfish. I'm pretty sure it was a jellyfish. I don't know. I don't know what else it could have been. It came across basically the top of my knees. The beginning of where my thigh stops and where my knees start, it was like a line across over the top of them. It felt like fire and electricity while I was in the water. And I started backing up, and I'm like, jellyfish, I think. And Matt's like, what? And I'm just backing up. I'm like, we gotta get out of the water. We gotta get out of the water. It felt sticky for a second, and then it let itself loose. But it was like electricity, and the electricity feeling and the burning feeling didn't go away for like 15, 20 minutes. The area turned red, and then that was the extent of it. No, there were no bad after effects. Everything was fine. It was very mild. I don't know what exactly that means, but I do know that I am now not part jellyfish, so that's good. That's good. I'm really happy and glad for that. Let's break up this crust. But yeah, it was, see how the crust forms? Isn't that funny? Break up that crust really nice. And then at about the 8-minute mark, I will start digging out the chunks that decided they weren't going to fall to the bottom. So, talk about things that had never happened to me before. Got stung by a jellyfish. Very interesting. Painful, but a very interesting pain, because it felt like you accidentally rubbed up against an electric fence for about like a second, except it lingered, because it just like draped itself across my legs, both of them, and then it just was like electricity. So yeah, and then it burned, and then it didn't really itch that bad, but it did become red, and now it's all gone. So yeah, I mean, it was an experience, and you know, it was an interesting experience. You know, it's not keeping me away from the ocean. We'll just put it that way. But I can see how people would be frightened by that experience, because there was nothing, and then there was pain, and then I didn't see anything. There wasn't anything visible giving me that pain, and then we got out of the water, and we were like, yeah, I think we're done with the ocean today. So we stayed in Media Luna because there were no lights. Everything, there were no lights. It's a national park in that area. It's a wildlife refuge, but there are no lights. There are no street lights. There's no nothing. So it was the darkest of dark. So we waited. We waited until the sun went down, and then it got immediately dark, and then the clouds broke, and it was the biggest, most extravagant star system show ever I had ever seen, and it was amazing. It was worth every bug bite, every jellyfish sting. It was the coolest thing ever, and I just stood there and I let the bugs eat me alive, and I watched the stars pop out, and they would not stop popping out. I think they probably would have kept popping out until it started to break day. It was just so amazing and beautiful. Highly recommended. I mean, you don't need a passport to go to Vieques. You don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. Highly recommend that as a trip. It's cheaper than flying and staying in Florida. It's probably a hell of a lot safer. Cheaper than flying out to California and staying. Cheaper than, you know, it's not an expensive trip. Yeah, I highly recommend it, and we'll highly recommend it for a very long time, until something else comes up. Anyway, we're in coffee time now. I have scooped out things. It has been steeping for 10 minutes. I think we're ready to do a little straining. How about you? Maximum coffee, maximum water, maximum hijinks. That's a nice color. Let's get that out of there. Yeah. Oh, baby. We're going to let that cool off just a little bit. I'm going to push that down a little further. Boop. So, yeah, so we did all that. And then, of course, it was pitch black to get the hell out of there. So that little that Kia Soul, I kind of liked them to begin with. When they first came out, they had this blue jean edition. That was blue with very white wheels that I thought looked incredibly handsome, and would definitely be something that I would have bought if I had had money at that point. Yeah, that little thing impressed the hell out of me with all of its visible faults, such as the tires, which I think it was just basically the tires. It cleared every hurdle. It didn't scrape once. When we went to get sushi, I don't think I mentioned this. We went to get sushi on the island of Vieques through a harrowing trip through the mountains, through the hills. And they were paved roads, but unfortunately, the roads were pitted and pothole filled, and you had, and some of them were just one car wide. So you had to duck, dodge, bob, weave while waiting on the oncoming traffic, who cares much less about their vehicle than you do. And we always gave everyone the right of way. Everybody, we pulled over and let people through. Always gave people the right of way because it's the easiest thing to do. And when they saw you were giving them the right of way, they took advantage immediately, which I very much appreciate. There was no you go, no you go, no you go, back and forth. There was none of that. It was like, okay, we're going. Great. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So the place where we got sushi was one of those food trucks, but it was a food truck in someone's front yard, permanent. So they lived there, and then during the day they sold sushi out of their food truck. And there was not an address. There were latitude and longitude coordinates, and it was the coolest thing. I'm like, you can't beat having a latitude coordinate and a longitude coordinate to go get food. That was the coolest thing. That is what we are missing in our lives. Honestly. To hell with addresses, give me a latitude and a longitude, and boom. And we drove up there and we're like, oh, we think that's it. And they had a beautiful view. They were up in the hills, so they had a beautiful view of the island and a view of a part of the sea. So that was pretty cool. Anywho, let's get to this coffee before my camera overheats. Timor it's just such a bright, fascinating coffee. A beautiful creamy head of walnut, a nice dark chocolatey finish. And you don't need complexity. You just need good coffee. I mean, in the end of the day, complexity is fun. It's fun to sit there and try to figure out what things are, but when something just delivers you a great cup of coffee, you always appreciate it. And I really appreciate the Island Roasters Timor coffee. It is so good. It just makes me so happy. I did something funny yesterday, then we'll close this out. I bought some syrups. I tried to find toasted marshmallow coffee mate or coffee creamer. It's all weird. It's all plant-based things with like mushrooms in it. And I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not interested. But I did find some flavor syrups, toasted marshmallow, and then another one that I can't remember, and I bought them, and they're coming. They should be here tomorrow, so they should be here in time for next week. So I bought the syrups, and I bought little pump extensions to put in the syrups so we can pump them instead of trying to pour them out. So that'll be fun. I'm very excited for that, and I'm going to try that toasted marshmallow in that Indiana Jones butterscotch coffee. I'm very excited about that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Anyhow, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoy the videos. I hope you enjoy the photos. We will talk next week about the last day and the trip back, and close all of this out, and then we will go back to our regular bitching. All of you take care, and we will talk to you next week. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Live long and prosper. Bye.